Welcome in the Awesemo betting show on the Awesemo Odds channel. We appreciate you spending a couple of minutes as we deep dive and hit anything and everything possible that you need to know about before Thursday night football. We'll sneak in a look ahead play, I'm sure, on the NFL docket. And yes, it's like we can't go a full show without mentioning something college football related. We always end with Lock It Up, which is your most confident play of either the night, the next couple of days, or the week, whatever it is. And we always invite you on chat after you smash away on that thumbs up button, of course, and are subscribed to our Awesemo Odds channel. We invite you to hit us with your Lock It Up play, again, Thursday night football. So a lot can be player props, can be the team total, whatever it is, the most confident play you have. And what we do is bounce it off our guy here, Ben Rasa at JazzRaz DFS. Jordan is producing. BetMGM is powering the program. And we'll tell you all about a couple of great opportunities to jump in with both Awesemo and BetMGM. Ben Rasa, we are here Thursday night football, and it's definitely an interesting one, especially when you remove Tyrod Taylor. But as always, my friend, A, good to see you, and B, we have a lot to get to.
No doubt about it, brother. Yeah, I'm excited, and we're coming in pretty hot. We talked Monday Night Football, and you talked about maybe the Lions punch first. We could get the Packers live. I hit him at -6.5. Aaron Jones had 4 touchdowns, so that's going to work for anytime touchdown score. Not everything was perfect, as it never is, but I like where we're at, and you just mentioned it. We get an island game here. We got the Texans throwing in Davis Mills. They are an 8-point home favorite. Yeah, right. 8-point home dog. So we're going to dive into that. Floyd wants to know about some player props. We are absolutely going to talk about that as well.
Sure. We've got a ton of things that we've looked at from BetMGM for this game alone. And I already see Floyd Robinson, Josh plays DFS. We'll get to your lock it ups. Trust me here. That's the beauty of the interactive part of our show, is that we're always out there soliciting. Right. We want smart people giving us plays so that we can tail them. My goodness, we can't be expected in 30 minutes or so to hit every single play across the board on multiple sports. So we reach out. But you're right. We've definitely got a nice little trend in the right direction for things that we've called out from either a live element of it or just simply pre-flop, as you mentioned Monday night. So where to begin? Let's start with the team. Let's start with the line, the total, maybe even a money line play, which I doubt there'll be here from a value standpoint, unless you're anchoring something. But the game itself, look, we've got a short week. We've got Davis Mills, who's making his NFL first start, not debut technically, but first start. And on a team that's awful, that really wasn't expected to do much with an offense that wasn't even catered to Davis Mills before injury. So the easy answer, I think, is, the Carolina Panthers come in 8-point line. They're going to smash and hammer away. It's a road game. It's a short week for Carolina as well. Is there an angle that jumps out at you that you think you can exploit the most when it comes to the team plays here?
So I think it's tough to back Houston. I'll be honest. I don't think they're a very good team. And credit to Tyrod Taylor. They looked like they were in that game against Cleveland until he went down. Davis Mills doesn't seem like he's going to be able to just pick it up and go against what's been a fantastic. It's only 2 weeks. Carolina's defense has been absolutely superior to most so far. So I have trouble backing them. But as you mentioned, do I want to lay 8 points on the road in a short week? Probably not. I will say the Panthers, for good reason, are going to be a popular teaser piece. You're going to get through 7-3, 8-2, really nice number, 8 to 1.5. You're doing a 6.5 point teaser. I get it there. I do have one other bet with the teams that I do like today, and it's going to be something. I'll save it for a couple minutes. Let me pass it to you. What?
Wait a second, because I felt like you just stopped short of being like, it's going to be a little wacky or a little crazy or a little outside the box. And I don't want to separate that from anything else. If you've got a crazy play that you deem as crazy play.
It's not crazy. Let's get to it then. Fine. I wanted to ask you about the total because you've been the total whisperer. As Chad is reminding me, no more unders. Yeah, I'm not betting the under tonight.
Wait a second. Because we didn't hit the under on Monday night after successfully hitting a couple leading up to Monday night, people are now afraid. They're afraid of the under.
You've been backing overs, which have been working. I've been on the under train. Thursday night football, traditionally, I feel like it is an inefficient game, but I worry about a rookie, a signal caller like this going against this defense. Let's get to it. Tell me what you think about this. So I looked at the game and I said, okay, I like Carolina to win the game like most, but I'm not going to lay minus 400 money line. That's just not going to happen. Then I looked at the first half. Carolina minus 4.5. That's all right. And then I saw the money line minus 300 still. I didn't really want to do that. But what they have over on BetMGM is they have halftime, full-time bets.
Yes.
If you go Panthers, it's only minus 140. So basically you're saying, when you look down there, if you scroll down to halftime, full-time, you get the opportunity where it's like, okay, I like the Panthers to lead in the first half. I kind of like them to win the game. I think this is a pretty good spot. Minus 140, you're saving a lot of juice. And if they are leading at halftime, I think I'm set up perfectly.
Do you think it's worth adding in a half unit play? And I'm assuming that we're going to hit this at minus 140. This is a 1 to 2 unit play for you.
Yeah, it's nothing crazy.
Nothing crazy, right? No. But even 2 units to essentially win one here for a likelihood scenario of Carolina never trailing in this game, right? As far as at the half and then at the end of the game.
Yeah, they have to be winning at half.
Right.
And then they need to win the game. Yep.
Is it worth? So I'm going to do the math here live as well. Let's just say we're building this bet slip on BetMGM. And of course, you should be taking full advantage of what we have here, the $10 at BetMGM. And you'll get, think of this, 3 free months of Awesemo Plus Platinum. That's like a $90+ a month deal that we're just giving you. All you need to do is sign up and bet $10 at BetMGM. But I am curious here. I do see a lot of McCaffrey props on the chat. I can't wait to get to those. Let's take this bet. All right. And I'm going to put 3 units, hypothetically $25 a unit better. I'm going to put 2 units on the Panthers halftime, full time, right? So $50 is going to get me back, 85.71, right? That's the payout. So I'm betting 50 to win $35. Is it worth it to take a flyer? The only other scenario that I could possibly see play out on the HTFT bets would be somehow if Carolina is playing down in the first half and there's a tie going into it at plus 1,200 and sprinkling a half a unit, which I'll round down to $12 on. And now there's the potential of getting that big play in there, but also having the $50 thing locked in. Here's the thing, though. You're losing $12 on the return of that first play. So I don't know if it's worth it from a math standpoint.
It's a little tricky. I know what you're saying. Yeah, you're really cutting your margins there. For me, I would rather just stick minus 140. You're at 2.8 to win 2 in terms of units. I'm comfortable with that. If it was juiced to the minus 200 or whatnot, I might look away, because then you're getting, what are you really doing? It's minus 300 for them to win the first half just by themselves. If you're infringing on that, I would structure differently, but you're getting a nice discount here. And I do think that in a game like this, the Panthers defense could start fast. If they get up, we're going to dive into the player personnel. Davis Mills, I don't know what he's really capable of. He doesn't have great weapons around him. And Carolina's defense through 2 weeks, they have dismantled both opponents.
Yeah, the whole thing, the selling point about Houston so far before the injury was that Tyrod Taylor is a rudder of stability, that you could go out there and not lose football game. You may not win, but you ain't going to lose with Tyrod Taylor, and probably it's a good chance to cover these ridiculous lines. How could you trust anybody making their first NFL start on a dog shit team, or at least one of the better dog shit teams coming into this game? And that changes with Taylor out. So I'm on I love how you think right now, which is you're cutting you're cutting the number, in half each time. You're looking at the full game. You're looking at the first half, and then you're taking advantage of the halftime, full time. The one area that I look at now that I think makes a lot of sense, staying away from the game itself. The 8 points are just a lot to lay on the road. Who the hell knows what happens with Mills and Brandon Cooks in a fourth quarter down 20 points. 43, I would say go under, just because I think this is a 20-7 game for Carolina that they're more than happy to win. But I'll push that aside here. I think taking Carolina to win the first quarter minus a half point and laying the 125 makes the most sense, because how is Houston scoring? And how are they scoring to the point where they're responding to Carolina? Are they going to keep the ball for 9 minutes in the first quarter to make sure that Sam Darnold and DJ Moore are off the field? I don't know if Davis Mills is capable of that. So instead of laying 250 on the money line to win the first quarter, why not lay a half a point at minus 125 for Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, I have zero interest in minus 250. That's a bad number in my opinion. There's, it's the first quarter. So I don't mind that. I think that kind of feeds in to similar mindset of what we're talking about. My thing is, a first quarter is pretty high variance because it's only 15 minutes. It's only minus 140 and you're getting a full half out of it at least. So like to me, it's probably worth the extra 15 cents. I think there's a much better chance that Carolina's winning after 2 quarters than they could be tied after 1 quarter. They could be down a little bit, but anything structuring with Carolina, I think is the move. And then the other thing, we alluded to this earlier, I do think Carolina, I'll say it again, if you're playing teasers, if you're looking to cross, 8 is a great number. They should win the game. It's going to cross 7 and 3 if you move it down. I think they'll be one of, if not maybe the most, prevalent team in teasers this week.
We have a bunch of lock it ups here, and they're all centering around, except for one at the end. John Shelton couldn't help himself and throws a college play in here. I actually have a college play tonight, lock it up, because I don't know how long this line's going to last. But Floyd Robinson got things started. And again, hit that thumbs up button. Please make sure you're subscribed here to what we're doing on the Awesemo Odds channel. And always, no matter what you see us doing or talking about, always hit us up with your lock it up most confident play of the night. D. Johnson, over 17 and a half receiving yards. Any thoughts on playing that?
I like it. I see what you're doing. So they've got 3 backs with Houston. They've got Mark Ingram, who we saw in week 1. If they can somehow win a game or stay in a game, they're very comfortable giving him. He had 26 carries against the Jaguars. That's ridiculous. Against Cleveland, they hung in the game a little, 14 carries. So we saw a big reduction. And I think if they fall behind even earlier, it could further reduce. Then you've got Phillip Lindsay and certainly David Johnson, which is the proper focused on. David Johnson is getting modest carries, 3 and 6, couple targets each game, but I think that could go up in a game script where they're really trailing. So I don't mind that. Phillip Lindsay, he may contribute a little, but I think truly David Johnson is the one most poised to benefit from Davis Mills checking down, what I think could be a lot tonight.
Absolutely. That's the term, I think, of the night. Check down. Davis Mills, how, unless it's Brandon Cooks that you can work something in this offense for, I just don't know if you would want Davis Mills throwing downfield to anybody else. And it's not even so much a knock on the reduced personnel. It's more so you're in a situation right now where you're going to get killed by this football team, especially with somebody like Christian McCaffrey, who can ball control you by running and catching the football. Carolina's on the road. It's a short week. There's no incentive to pound a football team into the ground. You get in, you do exactly what you need to do. You get a nice, comfortable 14, 17-point victory, Ben, and you get the hell out of town like nothing happened.
And the other thing about the Panthers, and I know this is somewhat anecdotal, but they've been very conservative. I'm not the, I like their coach in general, but I have seen them several times so far this year cross the 50 and punt. They're a team that looks very, very conservative, very vanilla. They want to get in and get out. They're going to move to 3-0 tonight. And that's going to be pretty impressive. But at the same time, I do think it hurts some of the upside potentially at spots because they're not really an aggressive offense. But on the other side, David Johnson, I'm very comfortable with. And one thing I want to point out, I'm sure a lot of people are saying, who the hell is Davis Mills? So just from a college football standpoint, quarterback at Stanford. Stanford's a very typical run heavy, play good defense type of team. This guy is not mobile at all. He averaged 1.4 yards rushing in his Stanford career. He's a very traditional pocket passer, not an effective one in my opinion. So I don't think this is like, remember we talked about last Thursday with Daniel Jones, and you mentioned he might be running all over the place. I'd be stunned if Davis Mills is utilizing his legs at all tonight. And that's where the check down comes back into play.
Christian McCaffrey over 135 all-purpose yards from Josh Plays DFS on the chat, telling us to lock that up.
Okay. I mean, the guy is unbelievable. I, on the breakfast menu a couple days ago, gave out Christian McCaffrey over 49 and a half receiving yards. That was the same line, and we got that recommendation from chat last week with the Panthers, and I like it again. It's now up to 52 and a half for his receiving yards. And that's something Obviously, the line's going to adjust a little bit, but I feel okay with that. So I don't mind going to McCaffrey. You can combine him as you guys mentioned if you want to go rushing and receiving. I mean, he's unstoppable. What's there to say? The volume's going to be there. He had 9 targets in his first game, 6 in his second game, and that game was in hand the whole time, and he still had touched the ball 29 times.
I'm interested, and I know I'm going to be sweating this. I don't think this is like a TJ Hawkinson player prop, which you nailed, and we should definitely give you some props again for Monday night.
That guy. I love TJ.
He's going to be a cash cow until the books catch up, man. He's a cash cow.
I love that guy.
I don't mind. Look, this is more the narrative in me, but I don't mind laying the 125 for an over 5.5 receptions for Christian McCaffrey because, again, I don't see a blowout. And I see the need to still move the football. And I still see the need for Christian McCaffrey to be involved in quick hitters. And it's not, if you're up 20-3 in the third quarter, you're not going to take explosive shots as much downfield to Moore or Anderson. And you still are going to move the ball. And I think McCaffrey just becomes locked in. And you mentioned volume. And I know last week dipped a little bit, but I don't mind that play at all, going over 5.5 receptions and laying the 125 on that, Ben. It's actually moved to 130 as I said that.
Yeah, see, I have no problem with that either, but I will say, you know, you're laying minus 130 there. To me, I would rather, because I'll say this, if he flirts with that, if he gets six catches to cash that, to me, there's a really good chance he's over 52.5 at that point. And when you look at 52.5, you're only laying minus 115. So it's like, what are the chances he catches 6, 7, 8, 9 balls and he doesn't go over 52.5? So I do like the yardage prop there because I do think you're reducing juice. He could also have like 4 catches and he busts 1 and you're there. So there's additional outs as well.
I have the odds at plus 160 on BetMGM for Jared Daigle's McCaffrey 100 rushing yards. 100 plus with that century number still in play at BetMGM is going to get you plus 160 of a return. It's not terrible by any means for a guy who could have a couple of big breakouts against that Houston defense. I don't know if there's going to be enough volume and carries to hit that without a couple of big runs.
Yeah, I mean, you want the game to stay close. I just worry on a short week if it's even, you know, say it's 21-7, 21-10, will they do their best to spell him? Because, you know, they're going to be 3-0. They have to start thinking big picture. And I don't know if they want to run this guy, you know, give him 350 carries and really run him into the ground. They need to keep him upright. So I'm not saying they're going to pull him off the field, but I do worry a little about the rushing upside if the game gets out of hand.
Our buddy Kevin Bloomfield on the chat, last little lock it up here. We're going to get to Shelton's, trust me, when we start talking some college football in a minute, but he's a fan of Robbie Anderson going over 43.5 receiving yards. He had it at 42.5. It looks like BetMGM's bumped it to 43.5. You have such a big play capability where that can go over on one catch.
No doubt. You're not going to get there on volume. You're going to get there on, I mean, look at him against the Jets. 1 reception, 57 yards in week 1. Yep. That's sometimes all it takes for a guy like that. So explosive upside, it can be frustrating, but I do like guys like that because it's very high variance in the sense that you only need a couple big plays and it can make all the difference. You're just not going to get there on volume. That's all.
You know, I got in earlier in the week and it was 5.5 and I loved it. I had no remorse paying 115 for it. This was a lock it up that I was ready to go with. Now I see Sam Darnold's rushing prop at 6.5. And I don't know. I'm a little concerned, Ben Ross. You know, I got in earlier in the week over 5.5, actually laid 125. So I slammed away on that 6 yards. Fine. I don't know. It moves in that direction. I feel great about what my bet was at 5.5, yeah. But it starts to move north. And I'm thinking 6.5, that number where I say abort.
Yeah, I mean, Sam Darnold really doesn't want to run unless he has to. Talk to me about it as leaf blowers are at my house. Tell me about Sam Darnold.
So here's the thing. I understand that this is not a game plan like Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen where you're designing runs for Sam Darnold, but I do expect Houston's defense just because what the hell else are they going to do to ramp up some pressure and probably take risks? Just like we think Davis Mills will not take risks. I think the Houston defense knows how conservative Carolina has played, as you laid out, and will add some pressure and definitely expose themselves out there. There's going to be an opportunity for Sam Darnold to tuck it. There's going to be an opportunity for him to run. And what I really like about Darnold, he's kind of in the middle there where defenses still don't necessarily respect his feet, to where I think there could be a nice little cushion about 4 yards or so where he could gain on a scramble. You give me that 2 times over, and I've hit not only the 5.5, but the 6.5. I had no problem with 6 yards. I felt like I could get 6 yards from a guy who may not want to run, but has the ability to run versus Joe Flacco-esque statues out there who ain't doing shit.
What about the rushing prop of Davis Mills? Do you have any interest on him? He is straight immobile, straight statue, but are you looking at that?
No, I didn't look at that because of the extreme variance of this guy. I have no idea what to expect, and I don't think anybody else does either, including the books. So I don't know what a true number. I don't know if 207.5 is a true number for Davis Mills passing yards. I don't know if the rushing, I don't know what any of it is, to be honest with you. And that I don't even have it up right now on BetMGM. I just don't know if anybody has any idea. So unless like you and Matt at Betting You have spent a ton of time watching Mills in college, I don't even know if tendencies would transfer over tonight. I want nothing to do with Davis Mills from a betting standpoint, Ben.
I think you just leave him alone. I'll be honest. Yeah. You know, the classic would be to short his touchdown, but it's under 1.5 touchdowns thrown is minus 250. That's unbettable for me. Like you don't want to be messing around with that. Leave him alone, short the team if you're going to do something like that. I like it. And I'm not just saying this because it's our chat, and I do love our chat. Really sharp calls in there. I like Christian McCaffrey. I think you can get on board with Robbie Anderson. David Johnson, I have not bet that. I think I'm going to add that to my own card after the show. It feels like that type of game. Check downs from the Texans, and then Carolina leans on their big weapons. They don't screw the ball, don't turn the ball over, don't screw it up. Lean on the defense, force Davis Mills to beat you, because there's no way Ingram's going to have much success against the Carolina front. Carolina so far this year, 2.7 yards allowed per rushing attempt. That is first in the NFL. They've been absolutely fantastic through 2 weeks.
Wow. Now, as we wind down here, don't worry, we're going to give you each of our own lock it ups. I'm curious just to look ahead to the weekend, and It doesn't have to be a deep dive by any means. Let's start in the NFL. Is there one game from a total to spread to player prop? Is there something right now that we definitely should be aware of, either because there's extreme value on the board, or you're afraid it might move, or you just know that nobody else is paying attention to it?
So I don't understand this. I want to talk this through with you and with chat. All right. You've got the Tennessee Titans at home against the Colts, and they're sitting at minus 5.5. And how I'm looking at it is this. Okay, if Carson Wentz plays with his double sprained ankles, I think the line will close around this. Minus 5.5. Maybe it dips to, a little more, minus 5 or whatnot, but nothing major. It's not going to swing it wildly. If Carson Wentz sits and Jacob Eason comes in, I think this could cross 7. So the way I'm looking at it, I'm locking this in right now because I feel like only good things can happen. I'll take my chances at minus 5.5 against Wentz and the Colts going into Tennessee. If it's Eason and the Colts, I feel like I have stole a fantastic number. So to me, the books are budgeting way too much into Carson Wentz right now. I feel really comfortable at minus 105 with the Titans. I think regardless of who's under center, I'll have a distinct advantage.
Yeah, what is being baked into this line right now that it's under 6 and it's still juiced to the over, by the way, or juiced to the Colts, by the way?
I don't get it. I really feel like Jacob Eason does not look like a competent quarterback right now. He's going to be overmatched. And Carson Wentz, even if he plays, I mean, he threw an interception on a shovel pass.
Right.
Suspect. Right. I don't know, man. I feel all right with this. They're coming off a huge win too against Seattle. That was a big time game by the Titans.
I think there's something in that where there is still this disbelief that the Titans lost week 1 and that they needed this miraculous Derrick Henry break. And maybe there's a letdown here to come, but if anything, Henry is the guy who has dominated the Colts over the last 2 or 3 matchups. So I'm with you. That does not make any sense at all, especially if Carson Wentz plays. Like, forget Jacob Eason, because you're locked into anything under 6 right there with Eason, which is a win. But even with Carson Wentz, no, that doesn't make any sense at all. I'm going to have to jump in and tail this number right here.
And John Shelton just pointed out, and this is even more absurd in some ways, and this is a great call by him, Brett Hundley took all the first team reps. So maybe they're not even going to use Eason. I feel even, I don't want to say more comfortable, but that's another guy that, he's somewhat dynamic. He's got some dual playmaking abilities out of UCLA. He was with the Packers for a while. I still feel damn comfortable if I'm laying 5.5 points against Brett Hundley and the Colts on the road. I think these are mismatches. I don't get this line. I thought this would be north of a touchdown if we got clarification under center.
Yeah, that doesn't make much sense, especially when you add in what's happened throughout here. So I'll hit you with one. It's not to be dissected a ton by any means, but I really, really like Minnesota this week. And a lot will tell you that this is a Seattle victory as well as they travel. Russell Wilson has never lost to Minnesota. There are so many things that build up to it. But I think the devil is in the details, where I know Bill Parcells is rolling his eyes every time he hears this, but you're not always what your record says you are. There are times in which you lose games in which you are so tight. And look, maybe this is a year, Ben, where we look back at Minnesota and say, wow, they lost 9 games all by, 3 points or single digit, something like that. That happens in this league. Don't get me wrong. But I think Seattle is who they are. They're a 1-1 team, right? I think Seattle is who they are. I just don't think Minnesota is 0-2. They're the best of the 0-2 teams. And this is a game where I wouldn't mind taking 1.5, but definitely I'm going to take them on the money line. So I would just jump in on that.
I do think it's desperation all-in situation for the Vikings at home. They should have beaten the Cardinals on the road. Another ridiculous kicking situation for them. Dalvin Cook got injured multiple times, but somehow he makes it back. If they're even remotely competent, it's not to say it's an easy win, but I get what you're saying. This is one of those spots you got to show up and play. And I do think that they will play pretty well in that game. Haven't bet it. I may. Certainly we'll be diving into that a little more tomorrow as well. So it is a good one. I'm interested to see where it closed. I wouldn't be stunned to see that straight pick 'em by the time kickoff arrives.
Yeah, by all means. That's a great point, as to anticipate the movement that we'll see. All right, we're going to end with Lock It Up. Now, I'm not going to look ahead at college at all in something specific outside of the Lock It Up, because I have a college play on Lock It Up. I assume that your Lock It Up is more centered around tonight and not in college, right? Or maybe you have App State laying 4.5 in the first half tonight.
No, that's a tough game. I do like App State in that game tonight. And certainly, if you're looking for college football content, betting you, me and Matt Kajeski broke down all the weekend's games, available on all podcast feeds. We've got the VODs on this exact channel. That's why you want to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, because we've got you covered there. A lot of value in college. We will definitely sneak in some college tomorrow. I will say for Lock It Up, though, I really like Panthers tonight. I think it is a really sound bet. -140 on the Panthers, basically, because the way I look at it like this, I am betting -140 on the Panthers to win the first half, because if they win the first half, I really don't know how Houston is going to come from behind and win the game. And when you look at the real line for the for the first half, it's -300. So I'm cutting that bet even more than in half. Really good line. If the Panthers punch first, I don't think Houston ever gets up off the mat. So to lock it up, Panthers first half, Panthers game. Keep it really simple tonight.
I love it, my friend. I'm going to jump in and get ahead of what I think is going to move, because it's not as big of a market, let's say, as a bunch of other top 25 type matchups, but something is off on Purdue only laying 11 points. Now, granted, it's a Soldier Field game, so it's a neutral field, but they're better than an 11-point favorite on any field against Illinois. And I'll appeal to you, because Illinois secondary defense, really, when they're talking about giving up yards and how easy you can pass on them, they are in the conversation as bad as UConn. I mean, they are one of the worst defenses across the country, definitely in conference here. Purdue, on the other hand, has moved the ball comfortably. And if you look at just how effortless at times it's been for their defense, I don't know. This is a blowout to me. I had it 41-17 as far as my prediction. I don't think Illinois has the guns to keep up in a shootout. And it's not that Purdue's even going to throw a ton. It's just that Illinois' defense is so bad that there are going to be mistakes out there. This is not an 11-point line for me. And I think at some point it might move maybe to 12.5 by kick. I could be wrong, but it's definitely not moving in the other direction. I know that.
Yeah, I mean, Illinois was a team, they got a good win to start the year against Nebraska, and then it's just been straight downhill. They did play, I'll give them credit. They played really hard against Maryland, but again, just not able to close. The team, they're just not that good. I don't know how good Purdue is. That's going to be the kind of, what we need to find out here. We also need to see what's up with David Bell. That is a fantastic All-American-esque wide receiver for them, a la Rondell Moore. If he plays, he's got a concussion, so keep an eye on his status. I will echo what your reasoning is completely sound. Illinois, 104th in the country in passing yards allowed per attempt, 8.7. That's really bad. So if Purdue is slinging it, there will be points put up on the board. I get it. No doubt about it. So there's a lot of value on the college board. There's a lot of value potentially on the NFL board. We just got to dig a little deeper. NFL is very difficult. So that's what we're here to do. We got a good Thursday ahead, and then there are 4 college games tomorrow as well. So I know the show tomorrow is going to be jam-packed.
Oh, yeah. Make sure you're here because we are loaded tomorrow with the NFL, college football. Who knows what's going to make Lock It Up. We appreciate you riding with us. Again, just hit that thumbs up button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. A ton of betting content here as I see the lights flicker. I don't know if you're dealing with the storm, but I'm about to lose it. Well, here's the thing. We're back Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern. Again, jam through. Make sure you're following Ben. Thank him for his plays on Twitter at JazzRazDFS. I'm at Shander Show. Jordan producing. Thank him in the chat for doing a great job. And, of course, Bet MGM, $10. That's it. Bet 10 at MGM, and you're going to get 3 months of Awesemo Plus Platinum. You can't beat that deal no matter where you find it. Have a great day. Good luck. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, don't tell the people short, my man. You get 3 months of Awesemo Plus and the risk-free bet. So if your first bet loses,
up to $1,000.
Up to $1,000 in free bets coming right back for you. So we love to take advantage of that because we're looking for value on the show all day. That's another avenue. Sign up with BetMGM. Use that description in this video, and let's get it going.
Thank you all. We appreciate it. And remember, lock it up. We'll see you tomorrow.
Lock it up. That is a baller shirt.